Honorable Majdi just said that you are more Arab than any other Arab, comparing you with the Arab leaders who shamefully maltreated you. If tonight, soon, you will run election, not only in Palestine, but in the Arab world, I bet that no Arab leader will get more votes than you get. What's going on these days in Gaza could be only described by one word: shame. The world looks at babies with no medicine, with no shelter to live in this cold weather, and no bed to sleep on, and no food and no drink. Is that human? Where's the conscience of the world? Fortunately, we have someone in this hall who have a living heart and living conscience. What he is doing, he wants to change history. We in Palestine have a bitter experience with the British. I'm sorry to say that. Since the 1917, living under the British mandate. Anthony Eden in 656. Balfour. And the last Prime Minister? Blair, Tony Blair. But George Kell, please convey our message to your people, to your government, to the parliament in Britain, that we Palestinians, and I'm talking not about Palestinian Christians or Palestinian Muslims or people on the West Bank or in Gaza or Fayyad or Haniyeh or Abbas or Mishal. I'm talking about Palestine from the Mediterranean to the Jordan River and from Nakura to Rafah. I'm talking on behalf of the melting pot Palestinians. No Christians, no Muslims, no Hamas, no Fatah. Only Palestine. That we are ready to die for our just cause. Therefore, tell your people that we don't want enemies. We want friends. And you are the first friend of the not only the Palestinian people, but for all the Arabs, من المحيط إلى الخليج, from the Gulf. And we are really proud of you, of what you do, and you are welcome in the States. And unfortunately, one day we shall welcome you in Jerusalem.
So we know how much Brooklyn and the folks who've come from outside of Brooklyn and New York love the MP, George Galloway. So we've had to keep him upstairs. And we are not here to just see and watch and listen, but there are messages and we have action calls. And what's also really important is we had his first return to Brooklyn in the same place with a lot of the same speakers because we wanted to update everybody on what has happened since we last gathered here in this hall just last May. And one of the best ways that we found to do that was through a member of the AMP, Jayed Qayed, who, the American Muslims for Palestine, who, by the way, American Muslims for Palestine raised last night $130,000 and raised probably 5 times that much throughout organizing for VP USA, but just last night. So Jayed Qayed, I think it was his first time to activism. I happened to meet him in organizing for Viva Palestina USA as well. Went to Gaza, and since he has returned, has been an absolute firecracker, working non-stop to follow up on what he saw in Gaza, to make sure that whatever needs that he could find a way to fulfill are being fulfilled. And it's my pleasure and honor to introduce to you Jayed Qayed, an excerpt from his film made during the last Gaza convoy, which you all helped make happen. So thank you, Jayed Qayed.
Dear Mr. Galloway, brothers and sisters, I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. The Israeli military offensive on Gaza took place over 1 year ago. I was outraged by the silence and compliance of the world powers as they stood by and allowed the innocent people of Gaza to be mercilessly slaughtered. Something had to be done. Upon hearing of the first successful Viva Palestina aid convoy led by British MP George Galloway, I decided that I had to take part in the second, leaving from the US. I, along with many others, documented our harrowing journey, and for the past 6 months, I have gathered and organized our short films and began production on 24-hour visa. The aim of this project is to try to show you a glimpse of the sufferings of both the convoy and how it was so difficult and nerve-wracking to reach Gaza. But most importantly, to present the effects of the 22-day military offensive by Israel on the defenseless people of Gaza, their homes, their hospitals, schools, and means of life. I hope you find this documentary interesting and that we are able to paint a real, although minute, picture of the reality in Gaza after the 6 months after the barbaric aggression. Thank you again for being part of this great solidarity evening with the besieged people of Gaza, and thank you to everyone involved in making this project a reality.